Technical foul. Yeah. Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to another episode of Teed Up. I'm David.
I'm Justin.
As always, we appreciate you tuning in. Hope everyone's doing well. Got very exciting news, like actual like basketball news, like not just like what if topics that we've always been doing for like since this show has been started. We're actually getting like actual news. The schedule has been released. The schedule has been released. We got to wait one more month, and we get the NBA back. And I am just, I cannot wait. It's going to be awesome. Like I'm jonesing here for some NBA basketball. Seriously. Oh my God. So the first two games that we get, one of them's the Lakers and the Clippers. So if you remember, that game was postponed back in January.
It was.
Yeah, due to what happened with the Black Mamba, Rip Kobe. But yeah, the Lakers and Clippers. They play the first game that starts the 30th or 31st, I believe, and then the Jazz and the Jazz and the Pelicans, which is still a pretty good game. You know, Zion going up against Donovan Mitchell, Drew Holiday going up against Donovan Mitchell, Gobert, a guy that could shut down the entire league. That joke isn't overused or anything.
No, it's not at all.
Not at all. The brand new joke I just made up. I made it up. Nobody else used it, but yeah. And then so we have the opening day schedule, but we also have pretty much the whole entire season. These 8 games, and obviously we're getting 5 to 6 games a day, I believe, which is which is absolutely awesome because let's say like a second wave comes, which is probably will because people kind of just forgot about masks and stuff, and they tell us to stay at home. If they told me to stay at home, and we were talking to Ryan about this, and I was like, shout out to Ryan Hollins, by the way, and I told Ryan, like, if we had like 5 to 6 games a day and they had the stay at home order, I'd be totally fine with it.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think the games will be starting early in the morning. I still think the games would be between 7 and 10 o'clock at night. But I mean, it would give me something to do at nighttime at least. It wouldn't help me. It wouldn't help me out during the day, but it would help me out at night.
Well, we could just rewatch it, or we could provide our amazing viewers with more episodes.
That is true.
Very true. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube if you're on YouTube. But yeah, so. Looking at the schedule, there's a lot of teams obviously that aren't confirmed as far as, making the playoffs. You have the Pelicans in the mix, you have the Blazers in the mix, you have the I think the Kings are in there, but they're only like 6 games behind. Grizzlies are in there. I don't know if I just said them or not, but Justin, in your mind, who do you think has the easiest schedule?
Well, when you look at the statistics here, looking at it, the 2 easiest schedules are the Philadelphia 76ers and the New Orleans Pelicans. They just have the easiest schedules when it comes to what the record is of the teams that they're currently playing. Now, entering this tournament, you don't really know what's going to happen. Like a team like, I don't know, maybe San Antonio, they're not very high up in the standings, but that doesn't mean they're not going to be a good team because they're well coached. They have one of the best coaches, so they're definitely going to be ready for the tournament. They're going to be ready to come in and win games. So when you look at a team like that, it's an easy game on paper when you're looking at it. When it comes to the Sixers, because I know they play them, I think it's their second game. But realistically, that's not so easy. Like, there are easy games, but like, because of this tournament, how easy are they really going to be,
Right.
But I mean, the Pelicans is what really stands out to me because they have the easiest strength of schedule, and that just seems kind of fishy to me how they get the easiest schedule. And then when you look at it, the 2 teams they're competing with for the 8th seed, the Trailblazers and the Grizzlies, they're both in the top 6 in hardest strength of schedule. So some other Pelicans got the easiest schedule. Meanwhile, the Trailblazers and Grizzlies are in the top 6. So I mean, that seems kind of fishy to me. I mean, it seems like they want Zion in.
I don't know if we can say that. The NBA might cancel us. Who knows? I don't know about that. But yeah, it does seem fishy. You're right. I do agree. They really wanted Zion in the playoffs. And
of course they do. I mean, he is, like we said earlier, he is one of the most hyped up athletes of all time when it comes to that. Like, he hasn't really proven anything yet. And him being in the playoffs would be the perfect time for him to prove himself. And he certainly has a big fan base. So it would make sense why they want it. It would be bring in the views and it would bring the NBA money. So it makes sense, but like realistically, come on here, giving them the easiest schedule. Meanwhile, they're 2 opponents who are competing for they're 2 main opponents that are competing for the 8th seed. They're in the top 6 when it comes to strength of schedule. It just seems a little obvious to me there.
And here's another thing too that I was thinking. kind of thought, I think Zion, like I said, I said this in the past episode, I think Zion's insanely overrated. And if you can check out that episode, I think he's overrated. He's only played 19 games, and his stats aren't really like outstanding. You know what I mean? They're good.
Exactly.
They're pretty
They're
good.
very good, but
They're just not
amazing.
outstanding. But I mean, I feel like the NBA, let's say the Pelicans make the playoffs, I feel like they're going to give Zion the Rookie of the Year, which would be so hypocritical because they didn't give Joel Embiid the Rookie of the Year when he only played 31 games. But this is the NBA we're talking about.
Yes, but this is also a different situation just because of the fact that the season got cut short here. Like, they're not going to be playing 70 games. So to begin with, that makes it a little harder. This season is certainly different. So if they did give it to Zion, I would kind of understand more than if it was an actual full season and they gave it to Zion, just because, like, I don't know, it's just different. Like, this year there's so many different situations that are going to come up, and I don't know, it's just something that, like, personally, I wouldn't feel attacked as much as if they gave it to him at the end of this full regular season.
Right. But like I just I do think that Zion does have a really good shot at winning Rookie of the Year. I don't think he should win it. I really think it should be Ja Morant. I think Ja Morant should be unanimously the Rookie of the Year. But the NBA could just switch it up and say, well, hey, Zion's hyped up and he came back, so we're gonna give him the Rookie of the Year. I think the NBA could do that.
They definitely could. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to happen just because of what's happened in the past, looking at guys like Joel Embiid. But because this season is so different than any other season we've had, I wouldn't be shocked if they did. But I mean, who knows? It's still too early to tell. We don't know who's going to make the playoffs. If the Grizzlies make the playoffs, though, I don't think there's any way they can give it to Zion. Not a chance.
And one thing I wanted to mention too is about the Sixers. They do have a very easy schedule. I think they play a couple teams that are
they play the Rockets and the Rockets, Pacers, and it's the Raptors. Those are the three teams that are in playoff position right now. The other teams they play are out of the playoff position. They're fighting to get in.
Like, I think Washington's in there, which, if the Sixers do struggle against Washington. They do struggle against Washington.
It's Washington, San Antonio, Phoenix, Portland, the three teams we listed, and then I'm missing one more. But that's their schedule. Very easy on paper, but
yeah. But that's what I'm saying. It sounds easy on paper, but you have to remember they're not playing in the Wells Fargo Center, and their home record is tremendous. And the Sixers got most of their wins on the road. They've only won twice. They've got most of their wins at home. They have I think they only got 2 wins on the road this season. So that could affect them too. The fact that they're not playing in the Wells Fargo Center, they don't have us cheering them on, us booing them when they're down by 10 points. So
yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, it's still too early to tell for that, but like on paper, when you're looking at easiest schedule, the 2 easiest are the Pelicans and the Sixers.
100%.
Like, it's not even close. Those 2 are by far the easiest. I think the Celtics have a pretty easy schedule as well in there, but I think the Sixers and Pelicans really stand out.
Do you think, like, due to this, this whole new schedule, this whole new atmosphere, this whole new setup for the NBA playoffs, do you think that the Lakers and the Clippers aren't really a lock anymore, or do you think like a team such as Portland or New Orleans, for example, could step in and make a deep playoff run?
Honestly, who knows? But I mean, which is why I would say they're not a lock. I really can't guarantee it. If we were entering the regular season as normal, I'd say they're locks. But as of now, I wouldn't, especially the Lakers. Now, while you do have AD and LeBron, which is huge, you lost your best perimeter defender in Avery Bradley. They haven't signed anybody yet to replace him. We'll talk about that a little later on. But I mean, think about that matchup. They're going to be going up against either the Pelicans, the Grizzlies, or Trailblazers. That's John Morant, Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, and Zion and Drew Holiday and Lonzo Ball are really their 2 point guards there. That's a lot of good guard play, and you don't have a very good perimeter defender out there. You're going to have KCP's all right. Rondo's terrible on the defensive end. LeBron's more guarding the bigger guys. He's not really guarding the point guards.
Danny Green.
So, I mean, Danny Green's not bad, but like they're more shooting. Those guys are more shooting guards, so they can lock up McCollum. But if they're playing the Trailblazers, who's going to guard Dame? Like, they don't have Dame will be dropping 40 a night without Avery Bradley on him. Absolutely. So I mean, I would not say they're a lock anymore. And if the Clippers lose Lou Will, I would not say they're a lock. And just because there's no home court, I wouldn't say anybody's a lock. I think anything could happen. As long as the only team I see winning for sure in the first round is the Bucks, just because they're going to be playing a terrible team. So
Absolutely.
they're either going to be playing the Nets or what is it, the Magic, I think it is. So I mean, or the Wizards. Nets, Magic, Wizards is going to be one of their matchups in the first round, and I just think that matchup is so one-sided that they are a lock in the first round. But anyone else I could see losing, it would not shock me.
And another thing too, like with the Clippers, Paul George has had injury problems this whole year, and you can see it in on the stat sheets. His stats have gone down tremendously, and he's been really struggling since the end of the season before the season got suspended. So, what if Paul George isn't healthy? That could totally affect how the Clippers do, and they lose Lil Will. That's going to hurt him. That's going to really, really hurt him. So, it'll be interesting to see. I would agree with you that not every team is a lock anymore. I still think the Lakers have the best chance to win the NBA title this year, but to certify that, and especially after losing Dwight Howard and Avery Bradley, it's hard to tell.
They have the best duo in basketball, but they do not have the best surrounding cast anymore when it comes to players, just because of what they've lost. Now they can go out and sign guys, but there hasn't been any signings yet, so I wouldn't say anything's a lock right now. Outside the Bucks winning in the first round, that's the only lock I will still give. Everything else is up in the air.
And the thing is, like, I would say the Lakers are probably the front runner to sign, all the free agents on the market right now. Jamal Crawford, J.R. Smith, Nick Young, DeMarcus Cousins. But the other teams might step in and they might offer more money. Like, for example, the Sixers need a shooter. Sure, they signed Ryan Broekhoff.
Ryan Broekhoff.
I don't know how to pronounce his name.
It's so wrong, but I don't know.
We apologize to all the Ryan Broekhoff fans out there, and Ryan Broekhoff himself for butchering your name. We apologize. Welcome to Philadelphia, by the way. Very happy to have a shooter. But the Sixers,
dribble, but he's a good shooter.
Can't dribble, but we need a jump shot. We need a shooter. But the thing is about that is the Sixers could step in and say, well, we want J.R. Smith, or we want Nick Young, or we want Jamal Crawford. We need a shooter. We need more offensive power. We're going to offer you more money. And Jamal Crawford or J.R. Smith might take that. So who knows?
Still a lot of what ifs. Nothing's locked in outside of the Bucks, I think, in the first round. Everything else is up in the air.
Everything's up in the air. Yeah. But what are we want to know your guys' predictions. Let us know in the comments below. DM us on Instagram. You can follow us on Instagram at teed_up_podcast. We'll put the link in the description for that. Twitter, teed_up_pod. So remember, Instagram has podcast, Twitter has pod, because I don't know. I forget. I think it was like too many. It was too long of a name, but
too long. Yep.
Twitter's weird with that stuff.
You're only allowed like 12 characters or something like that.
Something like that, but that's neither here nor there. But the whole thing about this NBA news, honestly, the season coming back is still up in the air, because you're having Florida get this second wave, and already you see 16 out of 302 players test positive for COVID-19.
Yep.
So, Justin, I'm wondering, in your mind, do you think this bubble is still a good idea, or do you think the season's still safe to continue? What do you think?
So is the bubble still a good idea? Yes, it is, because all the doctors are saying this is kind of the best plan that you can put together and still have success. Now, it's all built on a bunch of small chances here. Like, there's a small chance something could happen. There's a small chance of this. After a while, all those small chances build up, and there's more exposure, because say if somebody inside the bubble here does get infected somehow, it spreads a lot easier this way, because they're all touching the same things. They're all not really going to be taking the precautions, I feel like, because they're going to feel like they're safe. So I'm a little worried about that. Now, as to the 16 players that tested positive, honestly, if they're playing on my team, I would have rather had them test positive now than later in the year, because you don't know what's going to happen later on. If they tested positive now, you have 3 more weeks till, I think it's 2.5 weeks until they move to Orlando to play. So personally, if they tested positive now, that's awesome, because that means they probably won't be testing positive again while they're in Orlando. So that would make them more likely to be available for the Orlando tournament, assuming they go down and play. I mean, it's a what if situation again. I'm all for it. I mean, you also got to look at the other aspects because do guys want to go and get hurt in a contract year? Like we'll talk with David Bertans or however you pronounce it. He's sitting out because it's a contract year. There's the injury aspect to it. Not only the virus, there's also the mental health aspect. How do you deal with being locked up in a bubble like that? Because I know a lot of people are dealing with that issue right now at home when they were in quarantine. They weren't doing well with their mental health. So there's a bunch of other aspects that go in, not just the virus. So I mean, looking at it, if they are going to have a season, this is the best way to go about it. So yes, it's a good idea, but I mean, there's still a lot of flaws with the idea. So
Yeah.
I understand why people are against it and why people are backing out. I totally get it. I'm not going to be upset with you unless you're Joel Embiid, of course, because I want to win. But I mean, I understand why there's fear and why there's flaws with this. But I mean, the doctors say it's the best system that they can have right now. So I mean, I'm all for it
Hmm.
because I want basketball back.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, for me personally, the safety of the players comes first. The safety comes first.
Mhm.
As much as I want NBA basketball back, if it's too dangerous to do so, if it's a health risk, if it's a public health risk to bring the league back, I completely understand why you would cancel it. And there are a lot of risks because they're doing it at Disneyland or Disney World. I don't know which one's
Disney World.
Disney World.
World's Florida, land is California.
Yeah, and someone got like pissed off at me because I said that wrong. Dude, I don't care. I'm not 8 years old, all right? I don't care about Disney World or Disneyland, all right? But
Yeah,
yeah, but what
doesn't
I'm
really
saying,
matter,
yeah,
but kind of does.
but they opened that up to the public. Like Florida opened prematurely,
Hmm.
and they opened up Disney World to the public. So, not only are the NBA players going to be in Disney World, the public is going to be there too, riding
Yeah, but
rides and
it's kind of set up so that the players are in the hotels. No, nobody's allowed to stay in those hotels that are there. Those have been shut down, and they're going to be transported between the hotel and the gyms. That they have like I think it's three different gyms set up. One's the main gym where it's televising the games, and there's two other practice gyms. So that's really the only places they're going. They're not really supposed to be going on the rides while people are there. So I mean, they shouldn't really come in contact. And according to the CDC, it doesn't stay on surfaces. So I mean, I don't know whether you believe that or not, but I mean, that's what they're putting out. So if it's not on surfaces and they're not around the people during the day, they should be fine. But again, we're not 100% sure. So
but like
it's
the
hard to
thing is
tell.
though, like all it takes is one player to go out of the bubble
And then
and
they're all
get the
infected.
virus, infect every other NBA player.
Exactly.
So it's very I don't it's very risky, I'll say,
Hmm.
to bring it back. Um,
Exactly. There's
but
a
as
lot of
long
flaws with it.
Yeah, and as you know, like I'm sure NBA players are the same way as people. People are stubborn, and you saw this with this virus. People really don't want to wear masks, even though they should. People really should try to limit going out as much as they should.
Well, did you see Kyle Kuzma? What he said?
What
So during the PGA tournament, you know those like smart bands that you wear
the
and it like
rings,
tracks the rings. Well, it's around your wrist, I think, or maybe it's around your ring. Or it's a ring on your finger. I don't know, but they wear it, and the one golf player was wearing it. He felt totally fine. He was playing in the tournament, but the ring picked up a little his breathing was a little heavy.
mm-hmm.
So when
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it got him, he went to go get tested, and he actually tested positive, and that saved him. So now all the golfers are forced to wear it, and the NBA was saying they want the players to wear it. And I mean, honestly, in my opinion, what's wrong with that? I mean, people wear watches, people wear rings all the time. Why is it such a big deal? Kyle Kuzma comes out and says, "No, that's a terrible idea. They're trying to track us and to make sure we don't leave the campus and all that other stuff." I'm like, dude, just wear the ring. It's for the safety purposes. Like that doesn't
exactly.
make sense. I mean, like you said, people are stubborn like that, and who knows? Maybe Kyle Kuzma goes out and he doesn't want it because he knows he's going to break the bubble, but who knows? But you're right, people are stubborn like that.
Like people seriously just can't put a mask on when they want to go outside. People can't the players can't put on a ring.
Hmm.
Is it really going to hurt you that much?
Yeah, it's,
Like, come on, like seriously, and like the fact that this is like a debate about wearing a mask or not is ridiculous. Like just for the people, like wear a mask. Like I don't obviously if you gave me the choice to wear a mask or not, like I wouldn't wear it. but I'd want to keep safe, and I want to keep other people safe. So wear a mask. I think the
Well,
players should
one
wear.
of the problems is not necessarily that, but if you're working in a job that's outside and you're around people, it is hard to wear a mask in the summertime like this
It's
because
hot, yeah.
it's hot out, and like I feel bad for the people that do have to work outside like that because they're wearing a mask and they get so hot they're passing out. But if they don't wear the mask, they're spreading the virus. So it's a tough situation for those people as well.
Yeah,
But if you're not doing that and you're making your trip to Wawa or whatever, just throwing the mask on. Like it's so simple to do. Just do it.
honestly, like seriously, like just to go to like the mall and shop for clothes and stuff, like, and you can't just put on a mask. Like, come on,
I
really?
wouldn't even do that. I wouldn't even go to a
I wouldn't
mall
even go
right
to the
now.
mall.
Like,
I wouldn't even go to the mall.
just stay home.
I mean, you could go to like a small mall. Like I would, like for example, like for those of you that don't know, like there's a King of Prussia Mall. It's the biggest shopping mall in America. It's right
Hmm.
outside of Philly. But I was actually there yesterday, and the people there weren't wearing masks. Like they were wearing them down in the mall. Nobody was really
Hmm.
social distancing. So my friend and I, we were just like, well, let's just leave because this is like scary, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, it's
So
bad.
I
And
don't mean
something like that could happen with the NBA. There's no guarantee that all the players stay inside the bubble, stuff like that. And if one person gets it, they're going to be in this bubble. The whole bubble will get it. So I mean, or they should essentially get it. So then it would be I don't know what they do then, maybe a 2-week shutdown. Who knows? It's a tough situation here.
well,
You
that's
kind
what
of
they.
just got to play it by the air when it comes through here.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to get off topic about like just the public in general, like
Hmm.
wearing a mask. I didn't mean to do that. I know this is an NBA show, but like remember like when the season started, they said it's only going to be shut down till I believe they said April 30th,
And they keep pushing it back.
and they just kept pushing it back and pushing it back and pushing it back until up until this point where they say, hey, it's going to come back in July. What if it doesn't? What if there's a second wave in the NBA and they have to push it back even more? So I think
Exactly.
either it's going to start and then it's just going to stop, or it's just not going to start at all.
It will start. I'm almost positive it will start because what they'll do is when you get there, they will test you, and if you test positive, they're sending you away from the bubble, and everyone else is staying at the resort. So if you test negative, you're good. You can go in, but if you test positive, you're not allowed in until you test negative. So
Mm-hmm.
it will start. They will figure out a way. There may be some players missing because they test positive, but it will start, and then we'll
Absolutely.
go from there. Who knows what will happen though? It's kind of all what ifs.
It's such a complicated like thing, like
Hmm.
it's very complicated.
It is. Luckily, the NBA has handled it well. So,
Oh,
I, I,
100%.
we will have basketball. It's almost now just a matter of will we get the full season in, or will it get cut short because of an outbreak in the bubble? That's where we're at now because we will have a season. That's for sure. It's more of a will we get the full season in?
Mm-hmm. And they're very strict with it. Like they said, if you leave the bubble at all, you have to quarantine for at least 10 days.
Hmm.
So I appreciate the NBA, taking this seriously and taking it, taking the proper precautions.
Hmm.
So yeah, let us know what you think in the comments below. Uh, Definitely let us know what you think. This is a crazy situation. If you had told me, a year ago that we were going to have to discuss it, whether there'd be an NBA season or not, I would say you're crazy.
Hmm. Definitely.
Yeah. Also, Kyle Kuzma, wear the ring, please.
Yep.
Seriously,
Hmm.
come on, just do it. It's a ring. Come on,
Hmm.
dude. Like, just wear it.
Yep.
I don't know. So the next thing that we were going to get into is leading into this, we were going to talk about all the players that are sitting out. Most of the players that are sitting out, whether that's due to the current situation in the country right now, whether it's due to the COVID-19, whether it's due to just things in general, whatever reasons. So we touched on a little bit about Avery Bradley last episode with Darrell Reynolds. Shout out to if you haven't checked out that episode. That episode is great. Definitely go watch
Hmm.
that. So we talked about Avery Bradley briefly, but we're going to get more in depth with that. Willie Cauley-Stein is going to be out for the Mavs. Trevor Ariza is going to be out for Portland. Dave Burton's is going to be out for the Wizards. Bojan Bogdanovic is going to be out for the because he has an injury. Joe Ingles is probably not going to play
Hmm.
because he's a little bit worried about health. And Wilson
He's
Chandler,
older though.
yeah, he is older. But we actually just got news on Twitter saying that Wilson Chandler is gonna opt out of playing.
Hmm.
Like we literally got this 10 minutes ago or something like that. So
Yeah, about then.
who's to say that
More players don't.
more players are probably going to get. So what team, Justin, do you think like hurts the most from this?
I'm gonna have to go with a single player. It's Avery Bradley on the Lakers because they don't have any perimeter defense now. But as a team, the Utah Jazz are hurting the most because Bogdanovich is very, very good. He was a key piece of that team. In my opinion, he was their second best player this season. And Joe Ingles is a solid player, solid floor spacer off the bench for him. So I really like those two guys, and not having them will hurt a lot. We still have Conley, Mitchell, and Gobert, but I mean, the pieces around those three are not as good as they were with Bogdanovich and Ingles on there. So that really hurts them as a team. Avery Bradley, like we mentioned earlier, that hurts a lot because they're going to be playing some good teams. Like in the first round, for example, I listed the three teams they're likely to play: Trailblazers, Grizzlies, and Pelicans. All three of those teams have very good point guards, even some good shooting guards. So they don't really have, like, if Rondo is their point guard to step in there, Rondo cannot guard any of those guys. Yeah, KCP, he's all right, but he's more of a shooting guard, small forward guarder. Same with who's the other guy they have? Don't they have another guy there? Who's their?
Don't believe so.
Oh, Alex Caruso. That's the
Alex
other guy.
Caruso.
Alex
Yeah,
Caruso. He's
but
not.
like
He can't. He's not defending Damian Lillard, John Morant. Like they're just gonna blow past him. So I mean, I'm worried about a team like that when it comes to first round matchups. And I mean, I'd be worried if they play the Bucks in the finals. Not having Avery Bradley won't hurt as much because they don't have an elite point guard. But if you're playing the Celtics with Boston with Kemba Walker, that hurts you because you don't have a guy that can guard Kemba.
right.
If you're playing, I'm trying to think, the Rockets with James Harden and Russell Westbrook, that hurts you because you don't have the point guard. If you're playing the Mavericks, they're going to be without Luka. That's a big loss. So, I mean, that situation is more dependent on their matchup, I think, because if they're playing an elite point guard, that really hurts them. If they're not, if they're playing the Clippers, I don't think that hurts them as much. So that one's kind of more matchup based, but I think that's a huge loss for them. Very underrated. Willie Cauley-Stein's out for the Mavs. I think that's not huge. I think while
They
he's
kind of
good, they have a lot of guys that can replace him. They have Powell, I think that's how you pronounce it. Then they have Bojan or
or
Boban,
Boban.
Boban, yeah, Boban. Sorry, I get them all mixed up. Boban Marjanovic, and they have Kristaps. Kristaps can play the five too, so I think they have the depth there that they can kind of filter it out. I don't think that's a huge loss. Most importantly, I think for them, they signed Trey Burke actually. So I really like Trey Burke. I liked when he played for the Sixers, and for them, they lost Jalen Brunson for this tournament. He's not playing because he had I think it was knee surgery, ankle surgery. He had some type of surgery. He is out. So it's a huge loss for them. They need another point guard off the bench there. So I think Trey Burke will be picking up maybe 10 to 12 minutes a night, but that's pretty good. I think that's more of an impact than missing Willie Cauley-Stein because I think they can fill that need. You get Trevor Ariza from Portland. That's a decent loss in my opinion because he's one of their better defenders. When you stick him out there on the wing, he can actually defend well because I know Dame and CJ are not good defenders. Melo cannot defend. They have big guys that can defend, but kind of that wing to 2, 3, 4, they can't really guard those positions. So I mean, I think that hurts them as well in that situation. Big loss for Washington with Bertans. I mean, that's big. He's been very key for them this season. So it's really just going to be the Bradley Beal show with no John Wall, no Bertans. That's big. And I mean, Wilson Chandler for them, that's just kind of
Burns is a huge loss for them. I mean, he's shooting
that.
like
He's huge.
40 something percent from three. He had 15 points a
43,
game.
43, 43.2%, I want to say it was when I looked at it. And that's a big loss. It was like 15.6 points per game, too. So that's a big loss. He was their second best player. So, I mean,
Right.
that's a big loss there.
That's 15.2. That's 15 points off the board right there. So you're down
That's
by
huge. I don't know
15.
who they're going to replace him with either because that team is not deep at all. So it's really going to be the Bradley Beal show when it comes to the Washington Wizards in this 8
As
games.
it has been for the entire season. I mean, let's be
Yeah.
real.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, it's really going to be the Bradley Beal show now because there is nobody else. At least they had a semi-respectable guy in Bertans putting up 15 points to kind of take a little bit of the weight off Bradley Beal's back. But now all the weight's on Bradley Beal's back. If he can get him into the playoffs, that would be a miracle. And then, I mean, Wilson Chandler, not that big of a loss. I mean, the Nets weren't going anywhere anyway without Katie and Kyrie. I don't think did Kyrie rule himself out? I don't think he officially did.
But I don't think he's playing.
I don't think he's playing. He hasn't officially done it, but I don't think he is playing. So I mean, they were without their players anyway. It's honestly smart for him because why risk injury or anything if he's trying to play further on? Why risk the injury if you're not going anywhere? So that makes sense to me. I don't think it's that big of a loss, but yeah, those are the guys we mentioned so far.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you do bring up a good point. Obviously, losing Avery Bradley is a huge loss for the Lakers because they do lose an amazing perimeter defender.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if they go out and sign a guy like J.R. Smith, he can't. Obviously, I think Avery Bradley's a way better defender, but I think J.R. Smith can hold his own on the defensive end. So signing him,
I don't think the difference is he can guard the 2, but can he
but he
guard
can't guard
the
the
1?
And that's
what Avery Bradley can do. J.R. Smith can fill that role at the 2, but see, they already have a guy like KCP that can do that. He's not great, but he's a solid defender that can guard the 2. Without Avery Bradley, they don't have that guy that can guard the 1 because Rondo certainly cannot do it. Oh, Rondo is a terrible defender.
And that's not Rondo's fault. I mean, he's getting up there in age, but
it's just at this point in his career, he is not a good defender anymore. Honestly, if Rondo plays only 5 minutes a game, that's perfect because I think he's a better coach for that team than he is a player. I think he's more there for locker room and team support.
The only thing I could see, maybe you put like Bron guarding like the 1, but even then it's risky. You know what I mean?
It's risky, and I mean,
because
honestly, it's good, but like John Morant would probably still run right by him, just because John Morant is so quick on that first step, and he's
Damian Lillard too.
Lillard would do the same thing. I think Bron could kind of guard Lonzo and Drew Holiday, but I mean, see, again, you would need him guarding a bigger guy down there. You're not going to need him on the 1 because if Anthony Davis isn't in there, you kind of need him down low on a Zion because Zion is going to take somebody down low. So I mean, it's a tough situation.
So you put LeBron, so like if you put LeBron guarding the 1, you put LeBron guarding Damian Lillard or guarding John Morant, for example. Well, now you have to guard CJ McCollum. Who's going to guard CJ McCollum? You know what I mean? So
there's so many different options.
Yeah, you guard one player, but then that's it. That limits you to somebody being open. So I don't know, but
and then Lakers were one of the best defensive teams in basketball. Actually, after the trade deadline, they had become one of the best defensive teams in basketball. So I think that's a huge loss because I think Avery Bradley is one of those guys that was a big contributor on that defensive end.
Absolutely
underrated for sure.
100%. Yeah. And another thing too is, LeBron, if you've seen pictures of LeBron, he's bulked up.
Mm-hmm.
And when you bulk up, I'm not a strength training coach or whatever, but when you do bulk up, when you put more muscle on, you do get slower. And, LeBron for a while was getting thinner. They did thin down a little bit, but now he bulked up because of, this whole quarantine. So he will be a little bit slower. I still think obviously he'll be the best player in basketball, the best all-around player in basketball at least. But, I still think, but he will slow down, so it'll be hard for him to guard, the 1 or the 2.
Yeah.
And I pretty much agree with you with everything else. Losing, losing Trevor Ariza. I mean, they lose a good defender, but other than that, Dave Bertans whatever. I'm sorry if I butcher his name, but losing him is hard. Losing Bogdanovich with injury is hard. It's going to be hard for the Jazz. Obviously, losing Joe Ingles is going to be hard because they lose a great shooter. Losing Wilson Chandler, they lose a shooter, but I mean, like that's not like too much of a loss for them. So,
Agreed.
What really I'm just like focused on like the Lakers. You know what I mean? I mean, like losing Willie Cauley-Stein, like you said, they got Norman Powell, they got Boban to cover him. So it'll be interesting to see the Lakers, and I do think that they should go out and sign J.R. Smith, that they should go out and sign Jamal Crawford and get a decent perimeter defender from.
I agree with that.
So yeah, let us know what you think. Let us know what you think down below. Comment, DM us. We want to know. Want to know your thoughts. The next thing that we wanted to get into, we wanted to go back to the bubble because there's some interesting stuff. And Justin, I don't want to take credit for this. I want you to actually introduce this topic because I didn't come up with this. You came up with this. So I want you to, ask me.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you think about it, if you could have cameras inside the bubble, this is going to be like high school lunch cafeteria thing all over again. Like,
exactly.
Who's going to be sitting with who at the lunch tables? Like, how's this going to be working out? If there's just 2 guys that meet up, what 2 like awkward kind of situation would you like to see happen? Like, who plays who in ping pong? Like a 2v2 tournament of Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons against James Harden and Russell Westbrook, or like Hassan White. Like, what type of matchup what would you like to see happen inside the bubble? If there were cameras on, what would you want to see?
I think Pat Bev's annoying on the court.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
don't have a problem with him as personally. I think I'm sure he's a great guy, but like on the court, he's a
Mm-hmm.
dog. Like he likes to just troll people. He likes to get under your skin. So
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll be around. He'll be like, we all know that one kid in high school. We all knew that one kid in high school was the instigator.
Mm-hmm.
Always like
Yep.
to start stuff. I was that kid. I love starting stuff in high school. I was like, you really gonna let him talk to you like that? Really? Or I would be like, yo, Joseph, for example. I'm just thinking of a name. I would be like, yo, Joseph, you know what he just said about you? So I think Pat Bev would do that. And
I could see that.
I think Pat Bev would definitely do that to LeBron. And I think he would do that to, pretty much everyone that he can have get under his skin. But so
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see Pat Bev. And I would like to see the Russ and Joel Embiid beef too. That would be
We'll
fun.
get to see that for sure because they play last game of the season,
Absolutely.
Rockets Sixers. So you get to see that. I mean, think about it, like a James Harden CP3 ping pong tournament. That'd be kind of ping pong matchup because they certainly have some beef.
Dude.
KD's not going to be there, but Russ and KD would have been cool to see because they got into some rocky terms there, especially KD. KD has a lot of beef with a lot of guys. I mean, LeBron and Kyrie would have been another one, but obviously Kyrie's not going to be there. Trying to think. Embiid and Whiteside's a big one for me because they went back and forth a lot on social
Yeah.
media. So I really would have liked to see that.
Is Nurkic going to be there?
I do not know. He hasn't said. So that would be another one.
Nurkic and Simmons?
Yeah.
Nurkic and
That's
Simmons would be
another
fun.
one. A lot of Sixers ones here because I mean, a lot of Sixers
We
are
like to
not a
start
very
beef.
well liked team. Yeah,
We
they're
like to
not a
start
liked
beef.
team. Jared Dudley might be there.
Oh God, that would be terrible.
Who else am I thinking?
Butler and Butler and the entire
Butler and
Sixers. Yeah,
Simmons. Butler
Butler
and
and
Simmons. I
Simmons.
mean, because Embiid and Butler are certainly good friends there. So
Butler
I
and
mean,
Brown, honestly, because the coaches are going to be there too. So
yes, that's another one.
Brett Brown and Jimmy Butler bump into each other?
I don't know how close JJ Redick is with some of his former teams. There's a lot of interesting situations you could come up with that would be kind of awkward in there.
I would
For
love
sure.
to just be like a busboy or something and just like just
catch all that.
Kind of like listen in as I'm like taking the dishes, just like, oh, Pat Bev, you know what he just said? I would totally do that. That would be awesome. That would be so funny.
No, yeah. There's a lot of interesting situations you could come up with here because there's a lot of different beefs throughout the NBA so far. And I mean, some of them certainly carry off the court at times. So, I mean, we've seen guys go off the court and say they're going to go fight back in the locker rooms, back in the back there. So, I mean,
Kyle Lowry and Ben Simmons did that. And they're going to be there.
Yep, exactly. There's a lot of Sixers related ones, but outside the Sixers, there's still other ones. Like I said, James Harden and what's his name?
CP3.
CP3. That's a big one because they certainly didn't get along in Houston that well. So I'd like to see that. There's a couple different ones that you can think of here that may spark some things. So I'd be interested to see that. I'll be interested to see if anything comes out of it, any reports do break. But I mean, there's a lot of what if situations. I'd like to be kind of like a fly on the wall inside the bubble there and see.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I think it'd be cool.
I want to know who LeBron's going to let sit at his lunch table.
Yeah, like who gets the
you can't sit with us.
Exactly. Are they sitting by team? Like how they gonna do that? Is if Embiid and Butler go and sit together, is Ben Simmons gonna go join them? Like things like that. I think it's interesting to talk about. Like who knows?
I need a job at Disney World.
That would be sick.
Somebody give me a job at Disney. If anybody works at Disney World, please can you hire me?
Yeah, that'd be sick.
I'll email you my resume. Justin, you can come. Justin, why don't you just apply? We can do the show. Yeah. For live from Disney World, that'd be sick if we could do the show live from Disney World. That'd be so awesome. Because they're allowing.
I mean,
they're allowing media.
They're allowing some media there. You have to have a certain type of credential or something. I don't know how it's working. They haven't really decided that yet. There's still time, but I mean, it will be interesting to see. Maybe something will come out of it. Maybe something won't. But I mean, even if something does happen, there's no way to necessarily tell if it will come out or not in the news. But I mean, definitely want to be a fly on the wall in this type of situation.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of good beefs in the NBA.
All right. Who do you think would be the best ping pong player in the NBA?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Ping
But
pong.
and by
What
the
I've
way,
heard is ping pong is a big sport in the NBA, like in the locker rooms and stuff. I know it is in soccer as well, but I've heard the NBA ping pong is a big thing to do in the locker room. Mm.
they're not going to have 2-on-2 tournaments. They said no 2v2s, just
Yeah, they
1v1.
did say no 2v2s, but I mean, that'd be interesting. I feel like a guy like Giannis would be good just because he has such long arms that like you can't hit a shot around him because his arms are going to be extended and blocking everything.
Yeah, I could see Giannis. Maybe, man, I think like Russell Westbrook.
His intensity, Pat Bev, somebody like that. They're a little
Pat,
smaller though, so I think a big thing is that huge arm wingspan that they'd have. I think that like being able to reach all the way across the table like Giannis could, I think that'd be huge for a big guy. But again, like Giannis is at least quick on his feet. Like a guy like Embiid, I feel like would be kind of slow, so he wouldn't be as good. Or like a Jokic, I don't know.
I think Boban could be a good player just because
Oh,
he's huge.
Taco.
Taco would be
I don't
amazing.
think he's
Taco would be ping
going,
pong
but
champion.
oh, he'd just spike everything right back at you.
Just, well, yeah, he would be amazing. Absolutely amazing, man.
Yes.
Let us know what you think. Who's the best? Who's the best ping pong player in the NBA? And if there's any NBA players listening, let us know below or DM us why you think you're the best ping pong player in the NBA. We'll do a whole discussion about
Yes.
it. So yeah. Lastly, what we wanted to get into was Giannis. We'll get into a start bench cut after we talk about Giannis, but we were talking, this whole thing about Giannis. He's going to be a free agent this year, and I feel like a lot of people forget that
next year.
next year. I'm sorry,
It's next year.
but yeah, but still, I feel like people forget. People forget that Giannis
Because they could trade him.
They could trade him, absolutely, but then they would have to. But then that team would only get him for 1 year. But I mean, that
But again, the Bucks, if he says he is not re-signing with the Bucks, they can get at least some assets back in return for him before he just walks.
rather than just lose him in free agency. Yeah, you're right. So,
Mm-hmm.
in your mind, Justin, where do you want Giannis? Where do you want Giannis to go, and where do you see him going?
That's honestly my biggest team that I'd like to see him go to is the Miami Heat. I'm a big Miami Heat guy. I think him, Butler, and Bam with Tyler Herro on the outside shooting. I think that'd be a really good combo. They already have Goran as their point guard there, so they have a solid point guard. You got a lineup of a point guard of Goran. You got shooting guard is Tyler Herro, good floor spacer. Jimmy Butler at the 3. Giannis at the 4 and Bam at the 5. That's a good lineup there. I could really see that working out. There's some issues there with the cap space, so that's why it would be tough. But I mean, who knows? They could maybe even sign a point guard and get a point guard there on a cheap deal, and then they have a good starting 5 there. So you never know what's going to happen there. I mean, he could always go back to Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
Golden State's always been up there as a team. Because let's say Giannis says he's not re-signing. Would you trade Andrew Wiggins and your top 5 pick for Giannis? Like, if you're the Bucks, I think if he says he's not coming back, I would take that deal. If you can get Andrew Wiggins, maybe even Draymond Green and the top 5 pick, I would do that for Giannis.
Yeah, I mean, I think like what the Bucks have to do is they have to sit Giannis down and just say, look, like, where do you want to go? Do you want to stay in Milwaukee? Because he said before he wants to be a Buck for life. But
Kyrie said the same thing about the Celtics.
Yeah, so many players, and he said the same thing about the Cavaliers.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
yep.
Jimmy Butler said that about Philly when he first got here. He was like, dude, I love Philadelphia. It's great. And then he left. No knock to Jimmy Butler, but that's just what happened. I mean, so, a lot of people thought LeBron James too. A lot of people thought he was retiring in Miami.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I certainly thought he was going to stay in Miami his whole career. If you told me, 4 or 5 years ago that he was going to be a Laker, I would not believe you.
Yeah, certainly.
Absolutely not. But yeah, so I think they need to sit him down and just say, what do you want to do? What do you actually want to do? Do you want to stay in Milwaukee? Do you want to leave? Because obviously, the Bucks have not been very successful in the playoffs. They just haven't been.
Yep.
They've gotten close but no cigar. Basically, that's the pretty much the story for the Bucks. So, but I don't think that he's going to leave just because the Bucks are going to do, number one, they're going to do whatever they can to keep him around. Mm-hmm. And by the way, the thing about Giannis is it's amazing how the Bucks got him. because
With team fit.
Milwaukee's not a free agency spot. No
Not at all.
players have said no. No players has ever said I want to play for Milwaukee. No offense to any Milwaukeeans out there, but Milwaukee's not a hot spot. Obviously, it's not like a New York or like an LA or somewhere like that. So the fact that they got a top 3 player in the league is amazing, and I feel like they know that, and I think they know that they have to do whatever's in their power to keep Giannis. So they're going to throw him a ton of money in 2 years. They're going to build around him as much as they can, which they've already done a good job at with Chris Middleton and Eric Bledsoe and the Lopez brothers. So they've done a good job building around him, but I think that they're just going to do better. So I think he'll stay in Milwaukee. As a Sixers fan, I'm going to put the Sixers jersey back on. As a Sixers fan, I don't want him to stay in Milwaukee, obviously, because that's a problem for the Sixers.
I think the Sixers defend Giannis pretty well. Like if there's a team that matches up with Giannis well, it has to be the Sixers because you have 3 guys that can actually somewhat stay with him as much as you can when you're guarding Giannis and Ben Simmons, Al Horford, and Joel Embiid. Like you have 3 guys that can actually stay with him. If you're the Boston Celtics, the last thing you want to be doing is playing Giannis because you have nobody that can guard him. Toronto has some guys with Gasol and Siakam, but not nearly the same power that Philly has. So I mean, when you're looking at it, I would say Philly is the one team that can actually defend him if you can defend Giannis.
Right, but the whole thing is with us our consistency, with the Sixers' consistency. So
yeah,
if he just leaves the East altogether, that would be amazing for the Sixers. They could probably make the finals.
Do you see a team in the West that you think would sign him? Warriors?
Anybody, if it would be anybody, it would be Golden State. Just
really,
because
I think the Nuggets would be a solid team.
I could see the Nuggets too.
Pair him with Jamal Murray. You get Michael Porter Jr. possibly if he does anything, and Jokic. That you could become a big 3. You could kind of grow a big 3 out in Denver. So if I had to pick a team in the West, it'd probably be there. I mean, you could always how about teaming him up with Luka and Kristaps, big 3 in Dallas.
No, I don't know about that. There's only one basketball. There's only one basketball.
But I mean, think about it. How do you think that's going to work in Golden State or anything else? There's still only one basketball. I mean, when you're creating a big.
It worked with Kevin Durant when Kevin Durant came.
Exactly. So, I mean, I don't think that's necessarily a big deal because while Luka's so ball dominant, he can play off the ball, and Kristaps can certainly play off the ball. So, I mean, I think it could work there, and I think it could certainly work in Denver. I think is there another San Antonio?
No, I would say I don't think Giannis would fit in with Pop's system. I mean, Pop might not even be the coach. Phoenix, yeah, but like again,
Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah,
pair them up, make a big 3 out there. There are teams, but like realistically, the only 3 in the West that I see that have a shot are Dallas, Denver, and Golden State.
The only one that I see, like the only one I see in the West is Golden State, just because of like the market. Like players aren't dying to go to Phoenix. Players aren't dying to go to Denver. Players aren't dying to go to who else did you say?
Dallas.
Players kind of want to go to Dallas, but I mean,
Dallas. You get Dallas. You get Mark Cuban. You're gonna be in the city of the America's football. Like it's a solid city. It's not like I hate it, but it's a city that you could be attracted to. I could see it. It's not going to be it's not a top 5 attraction, but I'd say it's top 12.
Well, the Cowboys are not America's team. Let's get that right out of the way.
Yes, but they for some people,
I know what you're saying, but
for us they aren't. But like when you look at it,
Dallas sucks. Go Birds.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just get that out of the way. So
it'll be interesting. Options.
It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, definitely. As a Sixers fan, and I think you can agree. I don't want to. I would see him leave the East to go to the West. That would be the best case scenario.
Yeah, but I don't want him going to Golden State either because I don't want a powerhouse. I don't want a superpower. I don't want a super team again. I'd want him in probably Dallas or Denver if I had to pick because I think those teams are wouldn't be on the level that Golden State. If Golden State got in, they'd be unstoppable.
That'd be absolutely ridiculous. It would pretty much just be.
I would hate them.
Pretty much be the pretty much 2017 and 2018 all over again.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
exactly.
Obviously that wouldn't be good for the league, but well, I mean, it would be good for the league. I don't want to say that because I'll bring up Brian Hollins again. Shout out to him. Like I remember what he said. He said like everyone said that KD ruined the league, but nobody turned off games. Nobody stopped watching the league. So I don't think.
No, but I mean, it hurt when it came to the finals, the quality was good basketball, but it wasn't like I wasn't thinking.
It was like we all
I
know
didn't
who was
know
going to
we
win.
knew who was going to win. So yeah, it took a little bit off of it, but the talent was insane.
Yeah,
That's the difference. It was
definitely.
very good basketball, but it wasn't as suspenseful because I kind of knew who was winning already.
Hmm.
That's a good way to put it, I think.
Definitely. Yeah, no, I would agree. But let us know what you think. Where do you guys see Giannis going? Where do you think he's going to leave? Do you think he's going to stay in Milwaukee? It'll be interesting to see. And 2 years from now, that's going to be a really good free agency. That's going to be a very
Definitely.
interesting. That's going to be a very fun summer. If it even, I mean, that doesn't this whole COVID stuff that doesn't affect I mean, it does affect the schedule for next
Who
year, right?
knows? Yeah, who knows what's going to happen? So we'll still have to see because they haven't decided on the next start date. We don't know that yet.
Absolutely. So yeah, let us know what you think. So transitioning into that, we were going to get into our start bench cut. For those of you who are new here, we do a start bench cut every episode. So for this episode, we're going to do when healthy start bench cut: Giannis, LeBron, and KD. So Justin, I'm
Mhm.
wondering who would you start, bench, and cut out of Giannis, LeBron, and KD?
Okay, so I'll go with the obvious one first. I'm cutting Giannis. Giannis is a very good player, but he's not on the level LeBron and KD are on yet, just because he does not have the jump shot yet. I think he has the potential to be
Ring two.
actually better than them. I mean, he doesn't. He could be at the end of the day better than them if he can develop the jump shot and start winning rings, like you said. But currently, I cannot put him ahead of LeBron and KD. And then when it comes to LeBron and KD, this is tough. I mean, this battle has been going on back and forth for a while now. I think LeBron's dominated for most of his career, but I mean, I think I got to give it to KD when healthy. He is the pure scorer. When I think of a guy that I want to have the basketball down the stretch, I'd give it to KD over LeBron. I mean, on the offensive end, KD is lengthy. He's a little bit taller. He can get that jump shot. He has that quick release. He can get to the rim. He can kind of go in on a big guy, so can LeBron, but he can also get on the outside. It's tough because they're both very talented players, but I would have to give the edge to Kevin Durant just because I think Kevin Durant's a better scorer.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I mean, KD is one of the greatest scorers of all time. To call him the greatest
Hmm.
scorer, some people would say the greatest scorer of all time, but I'm really, really not sure about that.
That's tough, but
That's really
yeah,
tough. I would have to give it to Kobe. I mean, who do you think is the greatest scorer of all time? I would probably say Kobe.
it's tough. I mean, I would say if I had to pick three guys, it'd be Kobe, MJ, and KD are my top three.
I would say that. I would agree with that, but that's a whole
Those are
nother.
my top three scorers of all time right now.
Right. Yeah, and I would agree with you. That's a whole nother discussion. So like you, I would cut Giannis definitely. I just not only does he not have all the tools and arsenals that LeBron and KD have, but he doesn't have a ring yet, like KD and
Hmm.
LeBron have. KD's got two, and LeBron's got three.
Yep.
Where we differ on this, and obviously you can tell because of the Great Wall of
Yes.
Goatness. I'm going to start LeBron and I'm going to bench KD. Yes, I agree that KD is a better scorer. And I don't think there's anybody in the world that would say LeBron is a better scorer than KD. That's just blasphemy.
I would say there's some Brown sexuals that would go on the record of saying LeBron's a better scorer, but
Well, yeah, but I would even disagree with them. And you know me, like I'm a huge LeBron guy. I mean, LeBron's the
mhm,
reason why I started watching this game. But when you said down the stretch, I think LeBron's a better defender. I think he's stronger. I think he's got a better body than KD.
mhm.
I think he's definitely my pick as a starter. I would definitely put him over KD when
If
healthy.
I'm see currently, I think when they're healthy, LeBron's up there in age a little more, so I think he's a little weaker on the defensive end. When they were both in their primes, obviously when you're looking at it, I think LeBron's better. But currently, if KD is healthy, I would take KD just because I think he's a little lengthier with his arm reach. He can block shots a little better, poke the ball free a little better on the defensive end, and he just has the better jump shot. He's much better shooter. And when it comes down the stretch, and I want somebody shooting the ball, it's KD. I want the ball in KD's hands over LeBron's at the end of the game.
Right, but I mean, like as far as like who I want like guarding their best player, it's LeBron, no question, and I think LeBron can
No,
definitely handle that. Absolutely,
guarding, I would take KD on
I
him.
would take LeBron.
No, LeBron is not the same defender. I would say KD's a better defender than
LeBron's
him.
a way better defender. Do I need to? Did you watch Game 7? The last 3 minutes?
Nah, it doesn't matter. That's just one series. I think throughout their
Just
career,
one series. Okay.
LeBron is not the defender KD is there. I think KD is a much better defender when it comes to his arm. The biggest thing is the arms.
Maybe
KD's
maybe on the
arms are so long.
maybe on the perimeter, I could agree with you. But all around defense, LeBron is the best. LeBron's the better one out of those two.
KD averages more blocks per game than LeBron does.
So
I think he's actually a better rim protector because of those arms. Those arms are so lengthy. It's hard for guys to get shots up over him.
but LeBron's got it. LeBron's got hops too.
I don't mean hops, but the arms are so long that it just interferes with everything. I think he just gets in the way more often than LeBron does. LeBron kind of – the thing about LeBron. LeBron, at this stage in his career now, he takes plays off on the defensive end, and I don't blame him for that. But that's another reason why I got to give the edge to KD. If I'm taking a player right now, I'm taking Kevin Durant. I think he's a better all-around player than LeBron.
But when
it comes to full game, I think LeBron's the better facilitator and passer. But outside that, I think KD beats him in scoring and defense.
Well, another thing too is, if we're talking about when healthy right now, if we're talking about LeBron right now and KD right now, KD's coming off of that Achilles ACL injury. I forget what it was off the top of my head, but whatever injury that was, it's very hard to come back from. So he's not gonna be the same KD as we know. He's not going to be the same Golden State KD.
No,
the same OKC.
you don't necessarily know that. I would agree with you. I don't think he will right away. But
I'm not.
Within a year, he will be.
I'm not wishing that he doesn't come back. I want to see KD come back into his original form, but I don't think he'll be back in the same form that he was, in 2018, 2019. Meanwhile, LeBron. I mean, like, fine wine, he gets better with age.
And not on the defensive end, he certainly isn't.
But when he plays defense, he's tremendous, and he gives it his all.
He doesn't play defense, so you can't say when he plays defense.
But when he has defensive plays, he gives it his all.
He hasn't played defense since it's been 2 years now since he's played defense. He didn't play any defense last season.
You can't count last year because he was injured.
It doesn't matter. He still didn't play defense last year. When's the last time he played legit defense? 3 years ago in the finals?
This year.
He didn't play. He wasn't clamping people up. He doesn't play defense until the last possessions of the game in big games like the NBA Finals. Other than that, he's not clamping people up because he takes plays off on the defensive end. And it's nothing wrong with that because at his age, he has to be able to perform at the high level on the offensive end that he does. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just because of his age. Like, if he was a 24-year-old doing that, I would be knocking him all day. But as what is he, 37 now? That's you just can't be doing that. You can't be giving 110% on the defensive end at all times while you're going all out on giving 110% on the offensive end as well. So it's not a knock more so on him. It's more so his age.
But I think, like, when he does, I'm not disagreeing with you that he obviously has to take plays off because of his age. I'm not going to disagree with that. You're absolutely right. But I think when he does play defense, it's tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. I mean, he can stop you in the paint. He can stop.
We haven't seen that in 3 years, though, so I wouldn't guarantee it's tremendous.
You've seen it this year. He's a great defender. I'm sure there's.
He is not locked. You want to go look up LeBron highlights of defense this year. Poor defensive highlights this season. You see him bending down.
And I'm sure there's very positive highlights too.
He doesn't play defense right now, so I can't give it to him. I cannot. Right now, when healthy, KD is a better scorer. He's not a better facilitator, but he's a better finisher, shooter.
LeBron's a better finisher. LeBron's a better finisher than KD.
I disagree with that.
LeBron's a way better finisher than KD. When LeBron drives in the paint, nobody can stop him, and I mean nobody. Absolutely
I disagree with that. I think Kevin Durant is. I think
LeBron, KD can get stopped. LeBron can't. I'm sorry, but that's probably one of the most ridiculous things we've ever said in the history of the show. That KD is a better finisher than LeBron.
Not really.
Because when LeBron drives in the paint,
fantastic finisher. LeBron does it more, but when KD does drive, he is a fantastic finisher.
But when LeBron does it, he's better because he's just stronger. He's got more muscle. KD doesn't have muscle.
At this age, LeBron when he was younger, yes, but LeBron has become more and more reliant on the jump shot. Right. He really has the past couple of years. So I think he's just not in his prime. Yes, I would say he's a better finisher, but at this point in his career, I wouldn't say so. I'd
He still
say
drives. He still
KD,
drives a lot at the end
but not
at
not like
26 years old.
when he was up until about 26. That was kind of all he did was drive. Like that was 90% of his points were driving. Now I'd say it's about 65, 70%. A lot of his
Which
points
is still
are
a
more
lot.
jump shots. Yes, but when it comes to him, like it's fallen off a bit. I'm not saying he's not good, but it's just fallen off. It's taken a step back from where it was. So I think if you're drafting a team right now, let's say the league, fresh start, drafting teams, and LeBron and KD are on the board, who are you taking?
Right now,
Yeah, right now. Both
LeBron.
of them are healthy.
LeBron.
I'd take KD.
I'd take LeBron.
Nah, I couldn't take LeBron. I
Uh,
think he's at this point in his career, he's only going down. Meanwhile, KD's still at the point where he can
but you
perform
don't.
at a very
But
high
like the
level for a
thing is,
couple years.
you don't know how KD's going to do because of his injury. Some players don't come back from that, and KD might be one of those players. So you just have no idea.
KD will come back from it, but it will take a little more time. But the
In your
longevity he
opinion,
still has, he will.
in
He
your
certainly
opinion,
will. No, he certainly will. I mean, these guys still came back from it. These guys have performed at a high level. It's just they took a longer time. They weren't at the high level right away. And luckily, with this extended break, KD has the time to do that.
I don't think he's going to come back and be like the guy that he was in 2018, 2019 before he got hurt.
He will, but only because he's going to have this extra time off to prepare. If he didn't have this extra time off, I would agree with you. But entering the next season, KD is going to be ready because he has this extra time off. The season won't start at the earliest December 1st. That's would have been 3 months there of basketball that he's going to be playing, that he would have
Again,
been playing.
but again, he's got to be careful with that injury too.
It's not really once it's sewn back up. It's not really necessarily a big deal once he's healthy. Like he'll be healthy again and he can go all out.
It's a whole nother discussion. I mean, we've talked about KD with the Nets. You can check out that episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole nother discussion for another day, LeBron and KD. But so you would start KD, bench LeBron, cut Giannis,
Yep.
and I would start LeBron, bench KD, cut Giannis. So
Mm-hmm.
at least we're on the same page about Giannis. I think Giannis needs a ring before he can be on the same level as Kawhi, LeBron, KD. I think he needs that ring, and if he doesn't get that ring, do you think? I'll say this: do you think, like, let's say Giannis, when he retires, doesn't have a ring? Do you think he'll be like remembered as like LeBron will be, or as Jordan was, or as Kobe was?
No,
I don't think
no,
he will. I think he needs that ring to really push him over. Sure, he's got the MVP. Sure, he's got the title of being a top 3 player in the league, but he does need that ring.
no different than like an Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson isn't a top player in the league. He was an MVP. He won multiple was it all team first teams or whatever it was, scoring totals. He did
Scoring
all that
titles.
stuff. He had all that stuff, and he is remembered really only by six. Other people remember him, but a lot of people don't. He's not classified as highly as if he would have won a ring. If he would have won some
Save the
rings,
jersey.
it would have been better. Yep, exactly. He were in the jersey. Like I don't. It's not a knock on AI, but he just didn't win, so he's not as good. Same thing would happen for Giannis. Giannis would not be up there
But
unless he wins a ring.
yeah, and I would agree with that. I think he would only be remembered by Bucks fans.
Yep.
So
if he stays with the Bucks most of his career.
if he does stay with the Bucks, which we just talked about, but let us know what you think. Who would you start? Who would you bench? Who would you cut? Who's better, LeBron or KD? Let us know what you think. DM us on Instagram. We'll put the link in the description for our social media. Also, support the show on Patreon. But that's going to wrap up this episode. Great episode, by the way. Definitely covered a lot of good stuff. Very hyped to have basketball back. I can't wait. Hopefully, all the players stay safe. Hopefully, it doesn't get too drastic, to the point where we have to cancel the season again. But yeah, that's going to wrap up this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good one. Peace.